Rajat, you're on mute.
Thank you, both of you. I think we have already invoked the blessings of the Acharyas. Okay, we'll start by reading the sixth verse. Yeah, please tell at least somebody is attentive. Okay, so we are reading Isopanisad and we are into the second module of Bhakti Shastri. So we started off with the invocation prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamadam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So everything which is there in this material world, everything is coming out of the Supreme Lord. And Supreme Lord is also fully complete, Purna, and everything which is coming out of him, that is also fully complete. For example, this tree, everybody, this table, so everybody has all the organs, how it is functioning, how it is digesting food, how it is excreting the excreta. So all the things are perfectly designed by the perfect architect, which is Supreme Lord Krishna. And then we read the first verse, which is the Ishavasham principle. Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita ma krida kasasvidhanam. So everything animate and inanimate is coming out of the Supreme Lord, and there is a quota which is prescribed to every living entity. And we should perform within that quota, and we should not encroach upon others' quota. So this is the vision, basically, that Krishna is there, and that we are all part and parcels of Krishna, and all of us are given some quota in which we have to do our occupational duty, in which we have to take care of others who are related to us, who are connected to us. They can be colleagues, they can be friends, they can be family members, they can be Bhakti Vriksha members. So all that is our quota, whatever relationships we are having in this material world, and whatever resources Krishna is giving to us, grains, milk, food, house, car. So all that is our quota. And when we practice bhakti, and when we harness positive energy, when we depend on the Supreme Lord, when we reinstate our connection with the Supreme Lord, then that quota might increase. Our circle of influence will increase, and our circle of concern can be covered by our influence. So, if we follow the Ishavasham principle, we act within our quota, we don't encroach others' quota, then we can live for hundreds of years. That is what the second verse is saying, right? And that is the beauty of like following the Vedic culture. That if you follow very simple principles of going to bed early and rising up early in the morning, and yeah, following taking prasadam, worshipping the Lord morning, evening, and always be happy and satisfied, blissful in that relationship with the Lord, then you can live hundreds of lives, right? In Ayurveda, it is said Shatayu. Shatayu means if you follow Ayurveda, if you live happily in the city of nine gates, always be happy, blissful, without any stress, without any diseases, having good prasadam in mode of goodness, then you can live happily for hundreds of years. And even in Bhagavatam, even if like on the extreme side, it is said that one who discusses the glories of Supreme Lord Krishna, both morning and evening, so the sun, which is setting and rising every day, it takes up life from everybody, but it doesn't take up the vital energy from that person who is discussing the glories of Lord Sri Krishna in the morning and the evening. So the vital energy is so high by that discussion of about Krishna Rasa that like even the sun cannot also decrease the age of that devotee. So yeah, so there are like extremities also. So that is the second verse. Kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishech chatam sama evam tvai nanyate tosti na karma lipyate nare. And if you are not able to follow the Ishavasham principle, then you will have to go. You are the killer of this soul, and you will have to enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. So that's why this Ishavasham principle is very important. So spiritual life is not about like doing lots of things, right? You read this novel also, you read that novel. But spiritual life is about understanding the essence. So Vaishnav is Saragrahi. So if you understand the essence, the very simple principles of serving, of self-contentment and satisfaction derived from serving the Supreme Lord, from serving other living entities, then you are actually advancing in spiritual life. So that is so very very simple principles. If you apply in your personal life, and you you gain realizations. For example, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan ma karma phaletur burma te sangosta karmani. So if we just act within our quota, just for the sake of acting, and leave the rest on the Lord, and then we keep doing our bhakti activities with a regulation, with a routine program, then we derive lot of happiness and satisfaction, and that satisfaction will kill all the other negative energies: kama, krodha, lobha, mad, moha, matsarya. So our heart is right now filled with lust, greed, anger, and negative emotions. Lot of conditioning is there. But when we perform bhakti, when we perform acts for serving the Supreme Lord, for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then that positive energy will increase so much that we'll become more and more pure, and we'll advance in our relationship towards Krishna. But if we don't follow these principles, we just follow our sense gratification program, then we are the killer of the soul. Because just like we are eating food, right? The food nourishes our body. It nourishes all the organs when the stomach is able to digest that food. So similarly, soul also has its food. So when you sing kirtan, when you chant the holy names, when you do japa, when you read Bhagavad Gita, discuss with other devotees, so that is the food of the soul. So we should never neglect the food of the soul, because without the presence of the soul, the body cannot exist, right? The body will again mix into the mud. So that's why, apart from nourishing the body, we should nourish the soul also by this devotee association. So this is a perfect platform where we can take devotee association, we can serve, we can share our realizations. We have interactive group discussions where we can ask questions, we can share our personal exchanges, and I think it has been very nourishing for me also when you share your personal life experiences. So like this, yes, yeah. So I was saying that basically, like, we have to nourish our soul also and nourish our body also. And when we stay in the association of devotees and we connect with Krishna through the scriptures and devotees, then we feel nourishment. Bhakti parishanubhava viraktiranyatra cha. So when we perform bhakti, three, four things happen basically. One is detachment from the material things. That second is, when you eat food, right? What happens? Your uh, hunger is diminished. Second is, you feel satisfaction. Third is, your body feels nourished. So when you perform bhakti, then you will feel these things in your life. And proof of the pudding is in the eating. So if you are feeling these things, then it means you are going in the right direction. So that happiness, that satisfaction increases. And in the last session, we discussed about the fourth and fifth verse, which is telling us about the uh, characteristics of the Supreme Lord. That Krishna, although he is fixed in his abode, Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan, but still he is present in everybody's heart also, and he can run swifter than the mind. And powerful demigods, the wind god, the sun god, the rain god, Indra, right? Everybody is being controlled by him. So they cannot do anything without his sanction, without Krishna's sanction. So although Krishna is at one place, he is controlling the supply of air and rain, and he surpasses all in excellence. So this is the wonderful Lord. Basically, he is fixed in one place, then also he is running more faster than the mind. And in the fifth verse, we read the second characteristics of the Lord, that Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. So all the contradictory properties are for the Lord. And that can only be understood who has faith, who is non-envious of the Lord. Because Krishna is there everywhere. Krishna is in every atom. For example, this table is composed of wood. Wood has so many atoms. Every atom has Paramatma, which is Krishna. So there are three forms of the Lord. And in Bhagavatam it says, Vadanti tattva tattvavidas tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So when the creation happens, Krishna enters into every atom as Paramatma, and Krishna enters into the hearts of all the living entities as the super soul. So although he is one, but the he is the examiner of the psychophysical activities of all the living entities. So super soul is one, but it is it is present in the heart of everybody. So when we have faith and when we understand these things, although we might not realize, so there are three levels of like acquiring knowledge. So first is we have faith and we accept, and second is we understand, and third is when we apply that particular thing, then that becomes our knowledge. So acceptance, understanding, and then realization. So right now, if we can just accept it, that Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in your heart also, in my heart also, and Krishna is in every atom also, right? And that's why like this nucleus of devotion, everybody gets benefited by. Like although like all of us are together and we discuss like about Krishna and everything, everybody like benefits. So when we have faith and when we apply in this direction, then we get realization. We actually experience Krishna. We actually understand, okay, yeah, there are not only soul, we have a super soul also in our heart. So like this, we discussed about the different properties of the Supreme Lord. He walks and he does not walk. He's far away, but he is very near as well. Because Krishna is everywhere, so that's why although he's far, he is near also. So yeah, it's just a metaphor actually. So we'll start with the sixth verse now. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijagupsyate. He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Yeah, so basically the fourth and fifth words are very important, and one who understands those words and one who applies, he's able to apply those verses. He becomes an Uttamadhikari. And the sixth and seventh words are talking about the characteristics of a Uttamadhikari. So Uttamadhikari is the goal of life, how to become the highest level of devotee. So in this entire purport, we'll be discussing about these three levels of devotion. So right now, all of us are in Kanishta level. And even Kanishta also has three levels: Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Kanishta, Kanishta, Madhyama, Kanishta, and Uttama Kanishta. And most of us are in Kanishta, Kanishta only. And even Kanishta, not only Kanishta, below Kanishta also we are. Because Kanishta Adhikari also he chants, he hears, he worships the Lord. Although he has material conceptions, but he's performing his devotional activities very, very strictly and very with lot of joy, lot of devotion. So these are the characteristics, like sixth and seventh words are the characteristics of an Uttamadhikari who is able to see all the souls as parts and parcels of Krishna. Mame vansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana anasasthani indriyani prakritistoni karchali. So Krishna himself is saying in the 15th chapter that all of us are parts and parcels of him. And one who sees at the spiritual level, he doesn't hate or hanker about anything. Na sochati na kanchati. So purport given by His Divine Grace is Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. This is a description of the Mahabhagavata, the great personality who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord's presence is realized in three stages. The Kanishta Adhikari is in the lowest stage of realization. He goes to a place of worship such as a temple, church, or mosque according to his religious faith and worships there according to scriptural injunctions, which is very good. Devotees in this stage consider the Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. They cannot ascertain who is in what position in devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. Such devotees follow the routine formulas and sometimes quarrel among themselves. So it is said neophytes fight. So Kanishta Adhikari in English, it is called neophyte. A neophyte fights. And this is an age of quarrel, right? So yeah, sometimes they quarrel among themselves, considering one type of devotion better than another. These Kanishadhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane. So everybody is doing his own devotion. For example, Brahmachari is doing his devotion. He is very, very fixed up in his sadhana, in his in his japa, in his hearing, in his chanting, in his preaching. And Grasta is also doing his devotion. Grasta is paying his debts by begetting Krishna conscious children, and Brahmachari is paying his debts by doing kirtan, by propagating the holy name. So everybody has to liquefy his debt, because ultimately you are not surrendered to a pure devotee. Then you will have to follow this subsidiary guidelines, right? So, but only neophytes, they make differences. They start quarreling. Okay, you are Rasta, you are not able to follow the standard. But actually, Krishna knows. Krishna knows. Even Radha Govind Maharaj says that suppose you are driving a car at 120 kilometers per hour, and immediately some stream comes, some river comes. Then you have to jump from the car to a boat to cross the river. You can't cross the river with the car. So, like that, basically, according to time, place, and circumstance, we have to adjust. We have to adjust our devotional service according to our means. And that is the expertise. So, when we come to that level, when we understand the devotion in everybody's heart, and when we acknowledge the time, the place, and circumstance in which they are, and then when we respect, when we value those devotees, then we come on the Madhyama platform. Madhyama Adhikari is Prema Maitri Kripopeksha. So he is basically developing friendship with other Madhyamas, and he is developing love for senior devotees. He's developing love for Krishna, and he is very, very compassionate to the innocent. Prema Maitri Kripo Peksha. So, like this, basically, when we come on this level, when we don't judge other devotees' devotion, and when we respect the devotees according to the devotion he is carrying in his heart, then we come to the Madhyama platform. Those who have attained the second stage of realization are called Madhyamadhikaris. These devotees observe the distinctions between four categories of being: the Supreme Lord, the devotees of the Lord, the innocent who have no knowledge of the Lord, and the atheists who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in devotional service. So these four things, right? So like Madhyamadhikari is able to see that, okay, here is Krishna, here is a devotee of the Lord, and here is a Uttamadhikari devotee, here is a Kanishtadhikari devotee, here is a person who has some attraction for Krishna, who can be brought closer to Krishna. Here is a person who hates Krishna, who envies Krishna. If I tell him something about Krishna, he will scold me, he will become angry on me. So then he is able to distinguish all these four uh, different individual identities, but just based on interacting with them, just by their consciousness. So the Madhyamadhikari behaves differently towards these four classes of person. He adores the Lord, considering him the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in devotional service. He tries to awaken the dormant love of God in the hearts of the innocent, and he avoids the atheists who deride the very name of the Lord. Okay. Above the Madhyamadhikari is the Uttamadhikari, who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between an atheist and a theist, but sees everyone as part and parcel of God. So even if a person is like making some offense, or he is making some basically angry argument, then also he sees Krishna in his heart. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did it with Chand Kazi, or Haridas Thakur did it with these soldiers of Nawab Hussain Shah. So these soldiers were beating Haridas Thakur in 22 marketplaces. But still, like Haridas Thakur was just praying for the soldiers that they don't get the offense of beating me. So see, like he might be experiencing so much pain. Actually, all those pain was reflected on the back of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when Haridas Thakur was beaten by these soldiers of Nawab Hussain Shah. So like this, basically a devotee, he is praying for the other person, para dukha dukhi, and he knows that he's praying. He's able to pray only because of his complete fearlessness and feeling of protection in the shelter of the spiritual master, in the shelter of Guru and Krishna. So yeah. So that's why an Uttamadhikari, he preaches to an envious person also. And sometimes because just by seeing an Uttamadhikari, we get that desire to chant Hare Krishna. just by being in the association. Just if you sit at the lotus feet of an Uttamadhikari, you will feel coolness. All your anxieties will go. So in Vrindavan, there is one Chinta Aran Ghat, right? If you take bath there, all your anxieties will go. So similarly, an Uttamadhikari devotee, wherever he goes, Tirtham Kurvanti Tirthani. Wherever he goes, he carries the Tirthas. So if you sit on the lotus feet of an Uttamadhikari, immediately all the anxieties, all the dualities will vanish. You will become completely free-hearted, completely free of anxiety. And Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir. All the transcendental, unalloyed goodness will actually enter your heart if you sit at the lotus feet of an Uttamadhikari. And actually, this age requires Uttamadhikaris. Like even there are Madhyamas also very less. At least if we can come to Madhyama platform in next 10 years, that will also be a great achievement. So we'll do an activity on this. Just a second. He sees that the Brahman particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his little independence given him by the Lord, and that the dog particle has misused his independence and is therefore being punished by the laws of nature by being engaged in the form of a dog. Not considering the respective actions of the Brahmana and the dog, the Uttamadhikari tries to do good to both. Such a learned devotee is not misled by material bodies, but is attracted by the spiritual spark within them. So for a Uttamadhikari, there is no difference between a Brahmana and dog because he is able to see the soul particle which is there in the Brahmana and the dog. So only dog has misused his free will, and a Brahmana has like he has made appropriate use of his free will to make advancement towards Krishna, and he is totally absorbed in Krishna. Those who imitate an Uttamadhikari by flaunting a sense of oneness or fellowship, but who behave on the bodily platform are actually false philanthropists. The conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from an Uttamadhikari and not from a foolish person who does not properly understand the individual soul or the Supreme Lord's super soul expansion who dwells everywhere. So we cannot imitate Uttamadhikari. It takes 50 years, it takes 80 years of very, very strong practice to come to the Uttama level. And actually, this is the truth of life. This is the goal of life. Sometimes it might take 5 births to become an Uttamadhikari. Bahunam janmanam yante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlava. So we cannot imitate. We have to operate from where we are. We have to understand where we are, whether we are a Kanistha or we are a Madhyama, and we have to continue doing the duties of that particular ashrama and varna and at that level. And slowly, when we do our service nicely, then we come to the Uttama platform. For example, in Bhagavatam, there is a story of Narad Muni. So Narad Muni's mother is like bitten by a snake, and he's totally shelterless. So he roams around in forests and he starts meditating because he had association of sadhus whom he used to feed, his mother and he together they used to feed. And these Bhaktivedanta sadhus, they blessed a lot Narad Muni and his mother. So he had blessings of those sadhus. That's why he was able to meditate in the forest. And immediately he had full darshan of the Supreme Lord. He could see Krishna in his consciousness, in his mind. And all his senses became inert. Immediately, he was feeling the bliss of unalloyed goodness in all his senses. But immediately, just after this experience, his meditation broke and Krishna disappeared from his consciousness. And he's become so much agitated. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? I was feeling so blissful. That bliss has retrieved. Why this has happened? And then this Akashvani happens. Those who are imperfect in their service, I I do like this with them. I give some spark of Krishna consciousness, and then I motivate them to continue their service. And when they become perfect with their service, then I take them back to Godhead. So Krishna, like that Akashvani clearly says that in this life you will not be able to meet me, but you just perfect yourself in your service. So this is a service, like doing Bhakti Shastri, teaching Bhakti Shastri, and learning Bhakti Shastri, helping others assimilate the spiritual principles and read Shastras. So all these are services. The more we involve ourselves in services, the more we dedicate ourselves to the service, the more Krishna is pleased. And then we become perfect spiritually, like our spiritual realizations, our spiritual sanskaras, spiritual conceptions, they become very, very strong because we are associating with devotees, we are sharing realizations, right? So we our connect with each other becomes very strong, and we move very fast towards Krishna. So it is clearly mentioned in the sixth verse that one should observe or systematically see. So it is not that ki immediately we will be able to jump to Uttamadhikari. For example, on Radha Kund, there are so many people who give Gopi Diksha, and so many nonsense kind of things are happening. They are taking Diksha and they are smoking. So unless you are acting on the spiritual platform, you cannot become an Uttamadhikari. So you have to understand these things. You have so Gyan and Vigyan. Yeah, somebody speaking. So we have to understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And then what is our relationship with Krishna? And we have to act within that relationship. Then only we can go to Uttamadhikari platform. Not just by saying Gopi, 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 we can enter, we can become a Uttamadhikari. It's not like that. Although there might be like exceptions, like always, like in Dham are very like challenging places, there are always actual exceptions. So yeah, so we'll do an activity here. Uh, right, we'll discuss about Kanishta and Madhyama, right? So we discussed there that like devotees in this stage considered to the Lord to be present in the place of worship only, and they follow routine formulas, and they sometimes quarrel, considering one type of devotion better than the other. So all the quarrels are because we are judging. So even our Goswamis used to say that we should even respect an ant. We should respect every living entity with lot of devotion and care, and then our devotion will increase. We should pay obeisances to every devotee. We should pray, especially to the Vrajvasis. We should take darshan of them daily and take pay obeisances to them. So we can do this discussion. I think there are a lot of 16 rounders here, right? So what quality or what qualities you see in yourself in at Kanishta level, and which qualities would you like to improve? So for example, here we discussed that if we judge other people, then we will remain on Kanishta. Then how do we come to Madhyama? By not judging, but by actually discriminating. So, and if you want to like discuss about any experience and in your personal life, yeah, please, yeah, feel free to share that. Yeah, you can take 1 minute and then we'll discuss. And if you want to drink water, also you can discuss. You can drink. Yes, Prabhu, Prabhjeet, Prabhu, you want to start?
यस प्रभु, हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, एक्चुअली क्या होता है, जैसे हम कनिष्ठ स्टेज में होते हैं तो हम ज़्यादातर जैसे हम देखते हैं स्टार्टिंग में कि डिवोटीज, जो बड़े डिवोटीज हैं, सीनियर डिवोटीज हैं, वो ऐसा करते हैं। तो हम प्रभु उस स्टेज में ज़्यादातर हम अनुकरण करने की कोशिश ज़्यादा करते हैं, जो कि हमें नहीं करना चाहिए। तो धीरे धीरे जैसे हम और डीप होते रहते हैं और डीप होते रहते हैं और फॉरवर्ड करते हैं मध्यम की तरह तरफ, तो हमें ये समझ आता है कि वी शुड नॉट टेक अनुकरण, वी शुड टेक अनुसरण। मतलब हमें उनकी नकल नहीं उतारनी है, उनकी पाथ पे चलना है जैसे वो चले।
Yes, Prabhu, yes. Thank you.
तो प्रभु हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि हम स्टार्टिंग से ही अनुकरण अनुसरण की तरफ ध्यान देके धीरे धीरे अगर आगे बढ़े तो हम
Hmm.
डेफिनेटली उस पर वर्क कर सकते हैं।
Yes, yes, Prabhu. That's very important point. Anukaran and Anusaran. So Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. Matlab we should not imitate the Mahajanas. For example, uh, right, Prahlad Maharaj. He was like thrown into pit of snakes. He was thrown in among the elephants, and still he was like fully absorbed in Krishna. But we should not make situations worse ki we deliberately go into the pit of snakes. So we have to follow in that, in their footsteps. Follow means we have to take the essence and try to apply a little bit in our life according to our capacity. So that is the following. And imitating is like just start like Goswamis, like we will just drink one glass of buttermilk daily and then we'll chant for 22 hours. So yeah, thank you, bro. And if anybody can give some personal example from his life, that will also be good. Yeah. Especially, I'm looking for this, yeah, Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyama Adhikari transition. Anybody else wants to share? Aman Prabhu, anything? This is a very hot topic of our ISKCON because our ISKCON is full of Kanishtas. There are very less Madhyamas. So it's very important to come to the level of Madhyamas. Like whatever it takes, it might take 5 years, 10 years, but we should know who is a Madhyama and then we should try to aspire for that. Yes, Mataji, Pragya Mataji, go ahead.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी हमें एक बार
Your voice? Yeah,
किसी
yes, ma'am.
किन्हीं प्रभु जी, प्रभु जी हमें एक बार किसी डिवोटी ने बताया था कि आप ज्यादा अच्छे काम मत करा करो क्योंकि उससे क्या होता है, पुण्य बढ़ जाते हैं और हमें तो पाप पुण्य से ऊपर उठना है, तो आप जानवरों को भी खाना मत खिलाया करो। तो ऐसे हमें किसी ने बोला था पहले, वो डिवोटी थे, काफी अच्छे डिवोटी थे। तो हम मान गए, हमने उनकी बात मानी। फिर एक बार क्या हुआ, हमारे दरवाजे पे एक डॉग आया। तो वो डॉग बड़ी बुरी हालत में था और हमें वो बात याद आ गई कि किसी जानवर को खाना मत खिलाओ वरना वो पुण्यों में ऐड हो जाएगा। जबकि हम सब दिन एक्शन ही करते रहते हैं कुछ-कुछ, पर उस वक़्त हम पता नहीं था हमें इतना, तो हमने उस कुत्ते को खाना खिलाया ही नहीं। और आज भी मुझे उस डॉग की मतलब स्मरण होता रहता है कि वो बेचारा उस दिन दरवाजे पे आया था और मैं उसको खाना तक नहीं खिलाया। वो देख भी रहा था, उसकी हालत बहुत ख़राब थी। जबकि मैं सेकंड फ्लोर पे रहती हूँ और वो डॉग कैसे-कैसे चल के आया होगा, उस पर पता नहीं क्या-क्या लगा हुआ था, तो उसका थोड़ा अफ़सोस होता है। पर उसके बाद प्रभु जी, जब हमने दूसरा अध्याय पढ़ा भगवद गीता का, तो जब हमने सोल के बारे में थोड़ा समझा पढ़ा, तब हमें समझ में आया। तब अब जब हमें पता चलता है कि कोई तिलक लगाता है या कृष्ण की तरफ थोड़ा भी अगर उसका अट्रैक्शन है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली ऐसा लगता है कि वो भक्त है, हमें उसकी रिस्पेक्ट करनी चाहिए, वो सीनियर है, ऑटोमेटिकली ऐसा हो जाता है। पर वो बहुत उसका
Mm,
डॉगी का अभी भी याद आता है प्रभु जी।
yes. Kanishta application. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yeah, actually, like when we apply these things in our daily life, now it takes a lot of intelligence. And suppose like even in God Leela, right? Like there is a dog of Shivananda Sen. So Shivananda Sen is one of the personal associates of Lord Chaitanya, who is arranging these yatras like to Jagannath Puri every year. And he used to spend all his earned money of 9 months in arranging these yatras. So in one of the yatras, one dog also came, and dog used to go with all the pilgrimages. So like Shivananda Sen used to take care of that dog very nicely. Like he was not thinking whether my pious credits are increasing or like my sinful credits are increasing. It is just a principle of compassion, basically. So compassion is the first quality of a devotee. Kripalu, Akrita, Dhruva, Satyasara, Nidosha. And as grahasthas, you are also living with your parents, so you are indirectly in a grahastha situation. So as grahasthas, we should feed everybody. Like one time, Prabhupada told one of his disciples that you before taking your food, you should just go out of your house and scream, "Is there anybody who wants to eat? Is there anybody who wants to eat? Is there anybody who wants to eat?" So 3 4 times you scream. If nobody comes, then you take prasad. So whatever whoever comes, our grastas duty is to feed others and is to serve others, serve the society. So we should not think so much about piety and impiety. Like ultimately, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshet. So if you can see Krishna in his heart also, or if you feed him prasadam, he might become a human in the very next life. So all these things are there. Like bhakti, like it should be Krishna centered. Our vision should be Krishna centered. Ekatvam anupashyati. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. So that's why it is very important to consult when we apply these things. When some senior devotee tells this, and how we apply is more important than like what. Sometimes something is conveyed and we apply something else. So that's why it's very important. Like confirm. Yeah. And Pragya Mataji was experiencing that heat in her heart after you did not do that. Yeah. That is good actually. Super soul is reciprocating with you. Not like that. Yes, Prabhu, good.
प्रभु एक बार कोई डिवोटी थे तो उन्होंने एक स्टोरी भी बताई थी कि एक बार कोई डिवोटी थे तो मतलब उन्होंने जैसे देखा कि हमारे जो गोस्वामी थे या फिर सीनियर आचार्य थे तो वो उनकी तरह मतलब प्रभु उनकी तरह इमिटेट करने लगे थे कि वो भी कहते थे कि मैं खाना नहीं खाऊंगा और पूरी तरह मतलब जप ही करूंगा। तो उससे उन्हें क्या हुआ कि बहुत मतलब अंदर से डिहाइड्रेशन भी हो गया और वो बीमार पड़ गए थे। तो एक दिन वो मतलब प्रभु वॉशरूम गए तो वहीं गिर गए तो उन्हें उठा के फिर मतलब उनका ट्रीटमेंट करा। तो प्रभु तब बताया उन्होंने कि हमें ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए। शायद ये अमोघ लीला प्रभु ने एक बार एक वीडियो में बताया था तो वहाँ से हमने सुना था। और
Yes,
प्रभु
sir.
जब हम स्टार्टिंग में जैसे इस्कॉन से हम जुड़े ही थे तो हम भी देखते थे कि हाँ मतलब जैसे और सीनियर डिवोटीज को कीर्तन करते हुए देखते थे कि हम ऐसे करेंगे तो हम ट्राई करते थे। तो फिर हमें पता चलता है कि देख के नकल करना इतना मतलब आसान नहीं होता कि जब तक हम उस चीज़ को सीख नहीं लेते और उस चीज़ को अगर हम सीखेंगे तो फिर हम तभी उसको बारे में जान पाएंगे और उसे अच्छे तरीके से प्रेजेंट करेंगे।
Yes, yes. So unless we assimilate in our heart, we will not be able to achieve that level, right? तो यही मतलब इसमें बहुत सारी स्टोरीज हैं एक्चुअली, मतलब जो प्री मैच्योरली जैसे एक लेनॉन थे, जॉर्ज लेनॉन, जो हमारा बैंड था, आई फॉरगेटिंग द नेम ऑफ दैट बैंड. Srila Prabhupada preached to a band also, right? Somebody remembers that band name?
Beatles
George.
है ना? Beatles.
George
Beatles.
Beatles, yeah. So Beatles' head was George Lennon, and George Lennon gifted an entire mansion to Srila Prabhupada. And one time, like Prabhupada went with his disciples to meet George Lennon on that mansion. And one of his disciples, just by seeing George Lennon get out of the mansion, he paid obeisances in the mud. So there was a pool of mud, and he like did a Dandvat Pranam in that pool of mud. Then when he got up, then Prabhupada told him, "You did not need to do that." Yeah, George Harrison, exactly. Thank you. Sorry. And there was one Lennon also, right? Yeah.
John Lennon था.
John Lennon. John Lennon and George Harrison.
He was assassinated also.
Correct. So sometimes out of like utsaha mahi, we do some things which are beyond our realization. So that's why it is recommended to act within our realization. Whatever we can do sustainably according to our capacity, we should do. For example, if you can do one Nirjal fast in 1 year, start with that. Like one Nirjal Ekadashi. That's it. And then slowly you can come maybe alternate months. In 2 months, you do one Nirjal Ekadashi. So all these things depending on your responsibilities. So but the essence is to like remember Krishna. Satatam स्मर्तव्यं सततं विष्णु विस्मर्तव्यं न जातुचित् सर्वे विधि निषेधाचो एतयोरेव किंकर. So everything which supports our hearing and chanting, that we should do. We should not do anything immature. Yes, bro. Yes, Aman bro, you want to say something, or I was thinking I'll say something about this. Yeah.
So, I would like to add one point. During the initial stages of our life, we start judging devotees by their lectures and all. So, I think that is also one of the point, because initially we think that okay, Amoglila Prabhu is a famous, so we should means hear from him only. So like that only we means I develop a preconceived notion. Then later on, I realized that okay, no, every devotee is qualified and they are means giving some valuable lessons to our life. And what Krishna tells means whatever Krishna wants to speak, he will speak with with different devotees and all. So we should have a means faith on Lord and devotees, whatever they are guiding and all, we should follow it. So yeah, initially it was like that only. We want to fix our the mindset that these means these are the set of devotees. We will hear from them. Um, like initially that comes like these are famous and these are means we are started. We starts differentiating between famous and like means yeah. So that point. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. This was very interesting point actually, and it has a lot of flavors actually. So in the starting stages, if we start hearing from somebody like Amarendra Prabhu or Amoglila Prabhu, we feel a lot of spiritual shelter, a lot of ecstasy, and we feel that they are God actually. Like many people say, "Oh, this person is God." So nicely he's speaking, so much shelter he is giving, like he's speaking like God. But actually, slowly, when we understand, when we meet other sannyasis of ISKCON, we understand what is consciousness, what is Krishna consciousness. So that's why in the starting time, now, when we just start practicing bhakti, there is a lot of guidance needed. And there is a lot of fixity. Like the sources of hearing should be very, very defined. You should not hear from too many sources. Otherwise, the same principle is conveyed by different speakers in different ways. You will become confused. And like because Amoglila, like personalities like these Amrinder Prabhu, Amoglila Prabhu, they are famous, and that's why people think that they are like very very like amazing devotees, and they start thinking that others are not so amazing. So yeah, so that's why like we should hear in the starting from very very picked, very particular sources only, and that's where the role of the mentor comes into picture. So for initially 2 3 years, we need very careful guidance in how we are applying in our life, from whom we are hearing. For example, we should not choose more than two sources in the starting. We should hear from Prabhupada, we should hear from the spiritual master we are aspiring from, and then we should have some local authority with whom we have a good association. We should hear from him. So these three sources, if you have, then you can hear from him. And in relationships, you can have relationships with anybody. You should have a junior devotee whom you are preaching. You should have peer devotees with whom you are sharing your realizations. And then you have relationship with senior devotees from whom you are learning and from whom you are serving nicely. You are doing Vaishnav Seva by taking guidance from them. And then whenever the opportunity comes, you serve them nicely in whatever way they find happiness. Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah, so that's how like the holistic perspective of Krishna consciousness we developed by associating with Madhyamadikaris. And like one thing which I wanted to say, as you are saying, as Aman Prabhu told, that we start judging that just a person is speaking, so we start seeing his bad qualities. So we start judging this person is not so qualified, all that things. But actually, like when we become a mature devotee, we'll see good qualities in him also. Although we are able to see the like the little bit conditioning, but that will not affect us too much. We will, like, the good qualities will be more dominantly received by us from that person. And that is a symptom of a madhyamadhikari and uttamadhikari. So that's how we should pave our life. Like, we should not judge, we should discriminate. Okay, this is a madhyamadhikari, this is a kanishtadhikari. So what? I will respect both of them. I'll associate with them accordingly. So if this Kanishta has some problems like lust, greed, and anger, then I will associate him like that. Like, I will not associate very closely, but I'll just serve him prasadam, just jolly little bit Hare Krishna. And with Madhyadhikaris who are very like expert, then I'll open my heart, I'll discuss my challenges with him. And with Uttamadhikari, I'll pay obeisances, I'll wash his clothes, I'll serve him whatever way possible, I'll hear from him. So like this, according to the level of devotion a devotee carries, we should associate with them. And we should just discriminate, and we should associate accordingly instead of judging. Judging is like judging that this person is bad, this person is good. So we should not do like that, but we should see them as part and parcel of Krishna, and they are also in a particular trajectory. So all of us are in a trajectory towards Krishna. So we should see that trajectory. So that is the ekatvam anubhashyati vision. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so my from my perspective also, this like judging tendency should not be there. Like, even sometimes brahmacharis they judge grahasthas, right? And sometimes grahasthas they judge brahmacharis. Oh, what they are doing? They are doing nothing. We are doing so much service. We have so much opulence. These brahmacharis, they are poor fellows. Actually, we should not judge. Without the cooperation of brahmacharis and like brahmacharis and grahasthas, preaching cannot happen. Like, this movement of Prabhupada alone, nobody can do. Like, even in Bhagavatam first canto, like, Parikshit Maharaj is operating on the guidelines of Brahmanas. So this coordination between Brahmanas and Kshatriyas is very important to like sustain our movement. So we should never judge. We should be compassionate. Brahmacharis should be compassionate towards Grastas, and Grastas should take guidance from Brahmacharis. Grastas should respect Brahmacharis. And so that's how a mutual respect environment is there. And then basically, slowly, then our movement will grow very fast. And both purity and the quantity, both will grow. Happy devotees and happier devotees and more devotees. That's what Japadaka Swami says, right? So both of the things will happen if our relationships are strong. If we mutually respect each other, and basically we go forward. So in this, I'll just put my charger. I think charging is. Yes. So can anybody read this paragraph? Oh, no, not Rabjit Rao. Anybody else? Ravi Prabhu, Simran Mataji, or Himanshu Prabhu? Anybody is available?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
At present, there are many commentaries on the revealed scriptures, but most of them are not in the line of disciplic succession, coming from Srila Vyasadeva, who originally compiled the Vedic wisdom. The final, most perfect and sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. There is also the Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the Lord himself and recorded by Vyasdeva. These are the most important revealed scriptures, and any commentary that contradicts the principles of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is unauthorized. There is complete agreement among the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and no one should try to reach any conclusion about the Vedas about without receiving instructions from members of Vyasadeva's disciplic succession, who believe in the personality of Godhead and his diverse energies as they are explained in Sri Isopanisad.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So yeah, so this is very important actually. Like I know a lot of people are there in this group also. Ravi Prabhu is there, Himanshu Prabhu is there, and Manish Prabhu today is not there. But like all of us are influenced by impersonal thoughts. And somebody is reading Gita Press Bhagavatam. Somebody is reading Gita Press Bhagavad Gita. Somebody is reading Ashtavakra Bhagavad Gita. Right. So many misconceptions are there in this age of Kali Yuga. But actually, in this paragraph, Prabhupada is strictly saying that whatever principles are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, written by Srila Vyasadeva himself, we should not try to read any other scriptures which are deviating from those principles. So the essence of Bhagavad Gita is Sarvasya Chaham Ridhi Sannivisto Makta Smritir Jnanam Uponam Cha Vedesh Cha Sarve Rame Vedyo Vedanta Krit Ved Vedev Chaham. So if we can know Krishna, we can know Krishna Tattva, we can understand that Krishna is there in our heart, and we can establish that relationship with Krishna. We can feel the Satchidanand Vigraha form of the Lord. Then actually that is the culmination of all the Vedas. Vedanta Sutra means Anta of Vedas. Anta means it is full of nectar, full of bliss, because you are with Krishna. So whatever is taking you towards that position, that is authorized. And both the ways we have to validate whether the author is like in the line of disciplic succession of Vyasadeva, and whether those applying those teachings, whether it is giving us fruits and realizations. So that is there. Okay, this is clear now. Any questions on this? Himanshu Prabhu and Ravi Prabhu, I'm specifically talking to both of you through this paragraph.
Yeah, it's clear, Prabhu.
Questions?
Okay. Yeah, someone Prabhu would you like to read this?
According to the Bhagavad Gita 18.54, only one who is already on the liberated platform, Brahma Bhuta, can become an Uttama Adhikari, devotee, and see every living being as his own brother. This vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. One who imitates the symptom of an Uttama Adhikari may serve another's outward body for the purpose of fame or material reward, but he does not serve the spirit soul. Such an imitator can have no information of the spiritual world. The Uttama Adhikari sees the spirit soul within the material body and serves him as spirit. Thus, the material aspect is automatically served.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, so this is also very important, right? Like suppose you have United Nations, like they are trying to make an organization where everybody will come together and make peace with each other. But there is no success in that. Why? Because there is no common center. They are not able to understand they are actually brother of each other. They have a common father. How will you love each other if you don't acknowledge the presence of the common father? So that's how, like, even in ISKCON, like we have to come to this spiritual platform where we understand that we are spirit soul, and we have to serve the other souls, keeping in mind their relationship with Krishna. Then we will love each other. We will serve each other. We will take full care of each other. We will be very sensitive, and that love will flow. Those positive vibrations of harmony and love and care will flow in our movement. So that's how, like, and and this will happen only if we don't come to ISKCON without if we don't come to ISKCON with an agenda, right? Generally, we want to fulfill some desire. We want to get a job. We want to get a good wife, or we want to earn money. We want to buy a new house. So if we don't have the agenda and we are a good devotee, nice devotee, just want to please Krishna, then basically we will be able to connect with other devotees also. We'll be able to see and like do those loving exchanges with our brothers, because all of us are brothers actually, because our common father is Krishna. And then actually United Nations will come united. Everybody will become united. Unity in diversity can happen only if you acknowledge the presence of the common father and have very very clear, very nice spiritual conceptions. Okay, bro. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that he is able to see the spirit soul within every body, and he's serving him as that spirit soul. So the material aspect is automatically so. So when you act on the spiritual platform, material things are automatically taken care of. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Any questions till now?
I have a question. Like,
Yes.
means please go back to the previous slide. Okay. So here it is written like the vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. So what about like means those politicians who are means following the dharma like Yogi Adityanath and
Hmm.
our prime minister. So what about them? They are also imitator, or they are not in Uttama Adhikari stage, or like what they are?
Uttamadhikari. Prabhuji, Uttamadhikari, I cannot comment. But one thing, I have seen some videos of Yogi Adityanath. Like he doesn't have anything in his heart for his own self. He just wants to improve things, and he has no selfish reasons for it. So ultimately, what matters is your intention. Whether intention is to like whether your intention is selfish, or is it to serve the country. So if they have no fear, and they have no defensive mentality, they have no insecurities. They have engaged every intention, every act, every single desire in trying to uplift the system and in trying to serve the audience. Then they are actually like trying to be on the spiritual platform actually. But Uttamadhikari, I cannot say, because Uttamadhikari is a very high position which is attained by like 50 to 60 years of training and practice, right? You also know that in our movement, like Prabhupada used to like whosoever was Prabhupada disciple, even among those, like there were like 100 to 200. That's what somebody told me, my Shiksha Guru. There were only 100 to 200 Uttamadhikaris. So, so these leaders, these political leaders, generally leaders are very greedy and they want to fill their own pockets, and they increase the corruption. But we are very fortunate to have leaders like Narendra Modi and Yogi Adityanath, who are actually like they are investing every moment and every penny in the service of the society. And the most important thing is their intelligence. They are respecting the devotees, they are respecting ISKCON, and they are making those loving exchanges with the leaders of the ISKCON. So that is also very important, because ultimately how to lead, that intelligence will be given by like Brahmanas only, right? Who are spiritual masters. So that is the most important thing actually. And that's why like Uttamadhikaris, I can make a surety of they are there in the ISKCON. But yeah, like if you associate with Uttamadhikaris, then you might become Uttamadhikari also, right? In that verse of 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, where four types of devotees are there: Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna, gyan Jigyasu Artharthi Gyanicha Bharatarshava. So in that purport, Prabhupada says that all these four kinds of devotees, they are mixed devotees. But if they take association of Uttamadhikari devotees, then they can also become Uttamadhikaris. So that is what my take. I can't comment on the devotion of other person, but yeah. Okay, bro.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Yeah. यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि आत्मैवा भूद्विजानथ तत्र को मोहः शोकः एकत्वम् अनुपश्यत. So a person who has developed the qualities in the previous words, he sees ekatvam anupashyati. He is able to see all the spirit souls as part and parcel of Krishna. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? Purport given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Except for the Madhyamadikari and Uttamadikari discussed above, no one can correctly see the spiritual position of a living being. The living entities are qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of a fire are qualitatively one with the fire. Yet sparks are not fire as far as quantity is concerned, for the quantity of heat and light present in the sparks is not equal to that in fire. So this is Achinta Veda Veda Tattva, basically, like as because the nature of the spirit soul is totally the same as the nature of the Supreme Lord. Both are Satchidananda Vigraha. But qualitatively, we are the same, but quantitatively, we are not the same. So that's what it is saying, that Prabhupada is saying that the spark which comes out of the fire, that is qualitatively same with the fire, but it is quantitatively, it is different from the fire. The Mahabhagavata, the great devotee, sees oneness in the sense that he sees everything as the energy of the Supreme Lord. Since there is no difference between the energy and the energetic, there is a sense of oneness. Although from the analytical point of view, heat and light are different from fire, there is no meaning to the word fire without heat and light. In synthesis, therefore, heat, light, and fire are the same. Okay. In this mantra, the words Ekatvam Anupashyata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity for the living entities, but a minute parcel and parcel of the Supreme Whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean. But the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to the Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, there would be no question of his being under the influence of the material energy. In the previous mantras, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigods, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, Ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respects to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense, there is one interest, just as in a family, the interest of all members is one, or in a nation, the national interest is one, although there are many different individual citizens. So this point is also important. We are different. This one. So as like individual living entities, although we are qualitatively same, but we are not the Supreme Lord. Because if we become the Supreme Lord, then we will never be influenced by Maya. So many people say that I am the Lord. I know everybody's Lord. But then why they are suffering? If they are Lord, they should be able to cure their suffering. Why they are getting diseases, why they are getting accidents, why they are feeling hungry, why they are feeling hot and cold. So all these things we should ask. So that is the characteristic of a jiva, that he is always on the marginal platform. He is influenced by Maya also, and he is influenced by the internal potency also. There is this Dashamula Tattva, right? So in that, one of the Tattva, like there are 10 principles given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which prescribes that whether we are following devotional service in the right manner or not. So in that, one of the Dashmula principle is that a living entity is prone to be influenced by Maya. A living entity is prone to be illusion. So that's how we should challenge these Mayavadis and Brahmavadis. If they say that they are God, then we should ask them, are you not eating? Are you not feeling hungry? So like this, because their life is very dull actually. They are not able to experience the sweetness of Krishna. They are not joyful. They are not able to go to Harinam Sankirtan on streets. But all of that we can do, being Krishna devotees. So yeah, so they are missing on that. So every living being is the son of the Supreme Being, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.5. All living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatics, trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest. So Krishna is our Supreme Father, and when we understand that, uh, when we act on that principle, then we can live as a family. So in a house, there can, like in a small house, in a small 2 BHK house also, there can 30 people can also live, because Prabhupada is in the center. Like the Prabhupada's mercy is there, then so many people can live together. Yeah. So Ravi Prabhu, you want to read this paragraph? Not there. Not there, but not there. Okay. Akshat Prabhu, you want to read? Yes, Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu. What?
Yeah, you want me to read?
Yes, Prabhu, yes.
Okay. Mm, So I am in car in heat and I'm not able to see the text properly.
Okay, Akshat
I'm in
Prabhu.
sunlight, broad sunlight.
Sure, Prabhu.
Huh.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
The spiritual entities are meant for enjoyment, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra. Anando Mayo Bhayasyate. By nature and constitution, every living being, including the Supreme Lord and each of his part and parcels, is meant for eternal enjoyment. The living beings who are encaged in the material tabernacle are constantly seeking enjoyment, but they are seeking it on a wrong platform. Apart from the material platform, in the spiritual platform where the Supreme Being enjoys himself with his innumerable associates. On that platform, there is no trace of material qualities, and therefore that platform is called Nirguna. On the Nirguna platform, there is never a clash over the objects of enjoyment. Here, in the material world, there is always a clash between different individual beings, because here the proper center of enjoyment is missed. The real center of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, who is the center of sublime and spiritual rasa dance. We are all meant to enjoy him. We are all meant to join him and enjoy life with one transcendental interest and without any clash. That in the highest platform of spiritual interest, and as soon as one realizes this perfect form of oneness, there can be no question of illusion, mo or lamentation, soka. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. This paragraph is very important actually, because ultimately all of us are meant for the pleasure of Krishna. So, like that is our greatest pleasure, if we can provide some pleasure to Krishna. And all of us are pleasure hankering, anandmayo vyasat. And if we don't get sufficient spiritual pleasure, obviously we will seek that pleasure in material things, in material sense gratification. So here also, like Nirguna is mentioned, right? Platform, there is no trace of material qualities. So when we are serving Krishna, when we are performing the devotional activities, so we are actually on the absolute platform. We are on the transcendental platform where we are associating with Krishna. We are just endeavoring to give him pleasure, and that is our real dharma, right? So, and if Krishna is in the center and everybody's goal is aligned in that way of serving Krishna, pleasing Krishna, serving Guru and Krishna, then all of us can stay together and that energy will explode. That positive energy will grow a lot. Just like when you put the stone in the pond, right? There are a lot of concentric circles which come. And if you put 3, 4 different stones in the pond, then there will be like conflicting circles. Like there will be concentric circles coming from 3 4 different sources, and they might decrease their influence and their size. But if you keep throwing the stone on the same point, then those concentric circles will expand like anything, very fast, and lot of good vibrations. So like that, if our center is the same, if our center is Krishna, then everything becomes very simple, and we can harness maximum positive energy. And that is the goal of life, actually. That is the spiritual world. And that's what Prabhupada is saying, that Krishna is the center of the sublime and spiritual rasa dance also. So eventually, like, we will be able to participate in those, in all those like nectarian pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual world. Yeah. Next paragraph, anybody wants to read? Maybe read both the paragraphs. Pragya Mata, do you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. A godless civilization arises from illusion, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization, such as the sponsored by the modern politicians, is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. This is the law of nature. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14, no one but those who surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord can surpass the stringent laws of nature. Thus, if we wish to get rid of all sort of illusion and anxiety and create unity out of all diverse interests, we must bring God into all our activities. The result of our activities must be used to serve the interest of the Lord and not for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest can we perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned herein. The Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in the mantra and the Brahma Bhuta interest mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 are one and the same. The Lord, the Supreme Atma or soul, is the Lord Himself, and the minute Atma is the living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual minute beings. For the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Father extends Himself through the children and maintain them in order to derive pleasure. If the children obey the Father's will, family affairs will run smoothly, with one interest and a pleasing atmosphere. The same situation is transcendently arranged in the absolute family of the Parabrahma, the Supreme Spirit. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So that is the spiritual family, actually. So the situation where everybody's interest is aligned with serving Krishna and giving devotion and affection to Krishna, then basically everybody will reach the spiritual world. So one sentence here is like, a godless civilization arises from illusion, and the result of such a civilization is lamentation. A godless civilization, such as that sponsored by the modern politicians, is always full of anxieties because it may be crushed at any moment. So, can you think about this, and can you give examples that from our society? How is it? How is this happening? Because like people don't understand that God is completely necessary, whether it is good times, whether it is bad times, whether it is heat, whether it is cold. Because otherwise, we are just like going under the 3 modes of nature. Devi Yesha Gurmai Mam Maya Duratya Mame Viye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So although like there is so much godless civilization happening in all the cities uh, under the illusion, so is it increasing the lamentation, or like what do you think? Anybody wants to say? And is the anxiety increasing? How it can be crushed at any moment? Or Pragya Mataji, you want to share anything? Yeah, Ravi Prabhu.
Yeah, I mean, it is to me, it is a very direct question to what is happening today. And godless civilization, yes, it is 99% godless civilization. Whether you hear people, whether you hear newspaper, whether you hear internet or wherever, everywhere people say that nobody bothers for anyone. There's no mercy, and people don't bother for girls, women, children. And on this is one side of the story, which is 99%. And 1% we are talking about Krishna consciousness and talking about mercy, talking about the goodness and good to devotion service. This seems only 1%, and 99% is pretty heavy. So
Yeah.
that is how. And I related to Kali Yuga, where it said that only one leg is dharma and three legs are adharma, as Satyuga was, and then the one leg was reducing across the yugas, and this yuga is only one leg is dharma. So which is very clear, visible across all the ways you can see the word. So it's depressing also, but then as long as you are doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra and you are feeling fulfilled, and you are able to fulfill somebody else also by telling him that this is how the world is behaving, because everybody is in the mode of passion or ignorance. If you can help them see the world in that lens, then at least you feel satisfied.
Yes, yes. So Dharma has four legs, and three of the legs are beaten by Kali in the first three yugas: Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and only it is tottering along only on one leg, which is leg of truthfulness. So there are four legs of religion, which is austerity, mercy, cleanliness, and truthfulness. So now in Kali Yuga, all the other three legs are gone. Only it is tottering on the truthfulness leg. So yeah, so basically there is no protection actually in this Kali Yuga, right? Like if you see, like people just want to earn money. Like yesterday only our Guru Maharaj was giving a lecture, so he was saying that Vedic tradition means you should never be dependent on somebody else for earning money. You should make your own occupation. And right now, like because people wants to earn lakhs of rupees, 1.5 lakhs, 2 lakhs, just to make them secure, because the inflation is going high. So what will happen after 5 years? I should earn more money. So those thoughts are there. And instead, in Vedic society, the thoughts were different. Like if I serve Krishna, if I do bhakti, then Krishna will arrange everything. There was no money matter basically. Everything was barter system. If I do my part of service nicely, of course Krishna will supply. So that protection was there. That Varnashrama was established. So everything was very, very systematic, and there was protection for the old age people also. Right now, if you work in software industry, like after 45, they will reject you. There is no pension plan also. Whatever PPF, all that is like saved, that only you will continue. But if you do government jobs, then when you retire, they will give you proper pension. They will give you proper house. So like this protection is missing. Protection is missing only because they are going more and more away from the Vedic culture, and that is increasing the chaos. Like people are not feeling protected about their future, and they are full of anxieties. And that's why this heat is also increasing. Like Bangalore was not so hot like 10-15 years back. It is only because of the rampant advancement of Kali Yuga, because of which this heat is increasing. And anxieties are also increasing because people don't have higher shelter. As Ravi Prabhu is saying that, like when we tell people that chant Hare Krishna, this will make you feel sheltered, then they feel inspired. And that is the real shelter that will protect them actually. Whatever happens to the society, whatever happens to the age of Kali Yuga, but things will be saved. Your consciousness will be protected if you chant Hare Krishna, and you will get a better destiny in the next life. Yeah. So yeah, like this is very important actually. Nobody realizes this, that Krishna consciousness is the only solution to all the problems. And Krishna consciousness is not an option. Krishna consciousness is a necessity. And unless you understand and you dedicate yourself to the Krishna conscious activities, you will be the part of the problem. You will never be a part of solution. And that problem will become aggravated more and more, and you will be crushed in that problem so much. Yeah. Yes, Mataji, go ahead. Pragya Mataji, you want to say?
I just wanted to make one more point, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Krishna to other people, whether you talk to for a limited thing or you talk at length for Krishna, whether you talk about the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, people 9 out of 10 people don't want to hear much. They
Yes.
just want to hear for a minute or two, and then they want to just continue with their own thoughts of material engagements. And I only find one person out of 10, or maybe one person out of 50, who is interested to listen about Krishna and Bhagavad Gita and everything about this cosmic manifestation. It's just one out of 50. Otherwise, they have only a tolerance period of 2 minutes. Beyond 2 minutes, they want to get into their own path.
Okay, that is your comment. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, that's why we have to preach according to their receptivity. So sometimes people might like Prashadam more. They might not want to hear about Krishna so much. And some people, they might already have a very good spark. So you can discuss with them about Krishna for hours. So it is all depending on the super soul, how much intelligence you have and how much you are able to connect with him. So yeah. Thank you. Yes, Mataji, but
यस प्रभु जी, ये जो गॉडलेस सिविलाइजेशन में है, इसमें ये हो सकता है कि जैसे कि हमारी फील्ड में या फिर हमारी लाइफ में या फिर किसी भी फील्ड में, जैसे कि पॉलिटिक्स में, किसी में भी सक्सेस और फेलियर जो है वो चलता ही रहता है। पर अगर उसमें कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, अगर उसमें कृष्ण सेंटर नहीं होते, तो अगर उनको सक्सेस भी मिल जाती है तो वो उसका भी गलत फ़ायदा उठाते हैं, और फेलियर में तो उठाते ही उठाते हैं।
yes. यस माता जी, थैंक यू। आई थॉट ही विल स्पीक मोर। तो लस्ट अगर सेटिस्फाई हो जाती है तो वो ग्रीड बन जाता है, और अगर वो सेटिस्फाई नहीं होती तो वो एंगर बन जाता है। सो दैट इज द लाइक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड, कि जैसे अभी अभी जितना भी जो केओस है, वो केओस इसीलिए है क्योंकि जो लीडर्स हैं सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज के, वो बहुत ज्यादा ग्रीडी हैं। मतलब दे वांट टू अर्न 10 crores per month and all those things, and because of that greed, the common people are suffering. The common Vedic values which South India had, those are disappearing. Those are in jeopardy, because like they are more concerned about their basic living. Like they are not able to meet both the ends meet because of the inflation. So basically, somebody says rightly, right? Like this material world has sufficient for everybody's needs, but it doesn't have for everybody's greed. So greed has to be controlled. And even if they get promotion, they get success, their greed will increase. Oh, I will earn 10 crores more. And if their desires are not met, then that will turn into anger. They will cause disturbance in the society. So that's why Krishna consciousness comes here. Like real happiness, real joyfulness, real satisfaction comes in your connection with Krishna. Okay. So yeah, Prabhu, you want to say something? We'll quickly complete this.
या हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। प्रभु जैसे रवि प्रभु ने कहा कि सिर्फ 100 से 1% सीरियस और 99%, तो प्रभु वही कहना चाहते कि जो 99% है वो ज्यादातर प्रभु भेड़ चाल की तरफ ज्यादा जाते हैं, और जो 1% है वही मतलब सीरियस रहते हैं। कहने का मतलब ये है प्रभु कि मतलब प्रभु की ऐसा कि कुछ मतलब 99% या 90% जो है कि दिखावे की तरफ में कि हाँ ये भी हो रहा है तो चलो हम भी इस तरफ चल पड़ते हैं, ये हो रहा है तो हम इस तरफ चल पड़ते हैं। जो प्रभु 1% है वही मतलब सीरियस समझ पाते हैं कि हाँ रियल ट्रुथ क्या है और रियल सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन क्या है।
That's true. Yes. So we have to be compassionate on them, and somehow, if you can feed them nice prasadam, that will be their biggest welfare. uh, Anybody, Tanusha Mataji or Hina Mataji, you want to read this paragraph? I think everybody else has read. They both are. Prabjit, want to read? Okay, go ahead.
The results of our activities must be used to serve the interests of the Lord and for any other purpose. Only by serving the Lord's interest can we perceive the Atma Bhuta interest mentioned herein. The Atma Bhuta interest mentioned in the mantra and the Brahma Bhuta interest mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 18.54 are one and the same. The Supreme Atma or soul is the Lord Himself, and the minute Atma is the living entity. The Supreme Atma or Paramatma alone maintains all the individual beings, for the Supreme Lord wants to derive pleasure out of their affection. The Father extends Himself through His children and maintains them in order to derive pleasure If the children obey the father's will, family affairs will run smoothly. With one interest and a pleasing atmosphere, the same situation is transcendently arranged in the absolute family of the Param Brahma, the Supreme Spirit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So that's why like it's important to read the scriptures and it's important to follow the instructions of Guru and Krishna. Because if everybody is able to follow the father, then that family can be run very smoothly. And like there can be a lot of projects, a lot of things you can do for service of Krishna and offer to Krishna. So that's how basically like most of the times there are spiritual masters who engage their disciples in some projects like Varnashrama projects. For example, Govardhan Eco Village is there. All Radhanath Maharaj's disciples are there who are taking part of different sections of that project, and they are doing it very with a very selfless sacrifice. So that project came out very nicely because of their love for Radhanath Swami. And similarly, like Prabhupada also had so much love for his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because of that, he could propagate. So he's a Shaktivesha avatar, obviously. But because of that love and that desire to fulfill the instructions of the spiritual master, he was able to open 108 temples. Yeah. So this following the instructions of the Father, the Guru, and Krishna, this is very important, and this creates a pleasing atmosphere with one interest. This is the Ekatvam Anupashyati also. The Parabrahman is as much a person as the individual entities. Neither the Lord nor the entities are impersonal. Such transcendental personalities are full of transcendental bliss, knowledge, and life eternal. So Krishna is also a person, we are also a person. That is the real position of spiritual existence. And as soon as one is fully cognizant of this transcendental position, he at once surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Being, Sri Krishna. But such a Mahatma or great soul is very rarely seen because such transcendental realization is achieved only after many births, many births. Yeah. So Bahunam Jan, as I said, ki Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Mam Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Once it is attained, however, there is no longer any illusion or lamentation or the miseries of material existence or birth and death, which are all experienced in our present life. That is the information we get from this mantra of Sri Shopisha. So once we reach that platform, once we cross the stages of anartha nivritis, we reach nishtha, then there is no coming back, actually. So one time I was discussing with a senior devotee that how much time does it take to go across this anartha nivriti. He said one day it will come and you will say, "Oh, I am here," and after that day you will never go back to your anarthas. So that is the positive point, that in spiritual process, once you make advancement, once you make, once you reach a milestone, you will never go back. You will never fall down if you are careful. So that is the good news. Neha vikramo nashasti pratavayona vidyate swalpamapi yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So we can read. Okay, I think we can call it a day today. Any questions? Anybody wants to ask?
Prabhu,
So, yeah, something happened. You were asking some question.
yes, yes, Prabhu.
But
Yes,
you are
Prabhu.
mute. What is the question?
प्रभु प्रभुपाद जी की एक वीडियो में उन्होंने कहा था 1 मिनट, तो वो सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन के लिए उन्होंने कहा था कि या फिर कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस में आने के लिए उन्होंने कहा था.
Just a second. Self realization या Krishna consciousness. Yeah, difference क्या है इसमें?
प्रभु सेम ही है.
तो फिर यही है फिर. The Prabhupada used to say that it will take just 1 minute to become Krishna conscious. Just like Khatwang Maharaj, there is this example of Khatwang Maharaj. He perfected his life in 1 moment. So just take a deep breath and experience Krishna in your heart, and just leave everything to him, and that is you become Krishna conscious. All the negativity will go away. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji, any question?
यस प्रभु जी अगर हमारा इस जीवन में इतना प्योरिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ, या फिर मतलब अगर हम कनिष्ठ और मध्यम अधिकारी तक ही रहे, अगर ऐसा हुआ, तो अगर हम उत्तम अधिकारी के स्टेज पर आए ही नहीं, तो क्या हमें अंत समय में भगवान का स्मरण हो पाएगा, या फिर हम भगवान के धाम जा पाएंगे?
Interesting question. So actually, similar questions I have asked to my spiritual master also, but it's not necessary that Kanishtadhikari will never go to the spiritual abode, right? Krishna can do anything. And in scriptures, it is said that Madhyamadhikari is Mahabhagyavan. He is most fortunate because he is taking so much responsibility. So whenever some conflict happens, whenever some issue happens, he takes responsibility. I am the owner of this problem. So and in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes in many places that the leader of families, and they are trying to maintain their families in a Krishna conscious way, they directly go to Vaikuntha because they make house for other devotees to live in, to practice in. So Krishna makes their house in Vaikuntha. So although they might be at Madhyama level or Kanishta level, but if you are endeavoring in the right manner, then Krishna is making your house in Vaikuntha. Like in Isopanisad only, we will read in this, I think 14th or 15th verse, that even if we don't remember ourselves, Krishna will remember us. But devotee is praying that you please remember whatever pious credits, whatever bhakti credits I have done. So yeah, Krishna is very merciful. Krishna remembers, knows everything about us. So slowly. In the 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita also there is this verse, right? Mrityu Sansara Sagarat. I'm not remembering the entire words, but basically, Krishna himself comes to pick us when we are sincere. Like our memory is also given by Krishna only, right? So there is a very deep connection between Krishna and the devotee. Just leave it to Krishna. No need to worry. No need to make extraneous endeavors to memorize. Like Krishna will take care. Okay. Chalo, take care. God is ocean, we are drop of that ocean. Yes. So, okay, we'll see each other next Sunday. And I don't know, we have one more member who is joining us for Bhakti Shastri. If you would like to introduce very shortly in one sentence, we are happy to hear from you. Tanusha Mataji, you want to introduce?
Hare Krishna, Rajat, and everyone here. So I was a part of the group earlier, but because of the ups and downs, I couldn't continue. But hoping to continue for now. Thank you for having me here. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you for joining and very warm welcome. So at least you will be joining the Isopanisad series, and I would encourage you to hear the previous verses also, because yeah, there is a particular sequence in which this book moves. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all, and Hare Krishna. I hope it was useful.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna प्रभु जी।
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.